Glasser here, and I'm here with my co host, Rob Glasser. Welcome to Minding Your Mental Health, where we talk mental health, teach the importance of inclusion, and share why we should be kind. Join us in talking about the topics that shape mental health today. Our topic today is what? What are we talking about, Rob?
Community gardens and kind of a little history about them. And it's actually really cool. Community gardens are a booming thing, I guess. So,
Yeah, when we started talking about this, and what were some of the topics, and we started talking about doing the community garden, there are so many benefits that for mental health, obviously, but for physical health as well, and for the community, which in turn then
yes.
makes us all feel better because we're part of the community. So I think the first thing we want to do is explain what is a community garden, and then where did the idea come or start from?
Well, it's always a good place to start at the beginning,
Right.
right? All right.
At the
So,
very beginning.
the definition that I found is strictly a piece of land gardened or cultivated by a group of people, usually collectively, hence the community. That's the very layman's terms one. But really, a community garden is a place to go that usually doesn't have a garden to either visually spruce it up, because again, we always want to have pretty things, or, and we'll talk about this benefit later, a way to kind of grow food as well. But this actually was a while. This has been around for a while. So out of the Smithsonian Gardens website, we all know the Smithsonian Museum.
Right.
According to them, it's been going on since the 1890s, which
Huh.
is around the one of the first recessions that we had here in the United States. So my guess is it probably was a way for people to get food that couldn't afford it, but you
Right.
still were able. And again, at that time, the main jobs were farming and
Right.
cultivating and building. So it wouldn't be that weird to see family members of all ages,
Right.
kids and adults, out there. So some more off of here. They have a lot of interesting layouts. It looks like one of the big ones, according to them, was in Detroit.
Oh,
One of the city, yeah, okay. Detroit was the first city to have a municipally sponsored urban gardening program, and then it just kind of grew from there. I don't see specifically what was grown, but my guess is I know a lot of robust things, stuff like potatoes, stuff like carrots,
right.
things that can handle. Because I believe at that time, the Dust Bowl, stuff like that, we had a lot of what is it called, weather issues. So
Mhm.
we had to grow things that were strong that wouldn't go bad. So you couldn't
Right.
grow tropical fruits because that wasn't our area. You had to grow, like I said, potatoes, carrots, corn, things like that. But I was actually surprised to see how long or how far back it started. Um, and I was actually going to throw the question to you. Do you kind of agree that it started because of the recession, or do you think it was just kind of
I
a.
Yeah, I think so, and I think it really hit its stride, in the, early, 1940s when the Depression and people started having to, well, for lack of being able to get food and everything else, they threw their resources together, and I think that community gardens can, as I said, it's not just, um, for people coming together to grow food, but they come together as a community, and people
Right.
helping people, I think, is what helps the mental health piece of this. And I know we're going to talk about this guy who is amazing. If you have anything else you want to talk about in terms of the start of it, or do we want
Well,
to jump?
actually, I was just because I was going through one of the as we were talking with
Yeah.
things there. They broke down four kinds of these gardens. So we have the neighborhood garden, which
Hmm.
is coming together, ornamental, fruits and vegetables, all that.
Hmm.
We have residential that are within specifically apartments, assisted living, and affordable housing units. So
Hmm.
that's separate than neighborhood because this is specifically for areas of lower income. We have institutional, which are attached to usually a public park or a private park.
Right.
And we have demonstration, which is strictly used for recreation and educational. So
Ah.
the because I found the topic came to mind when I was on Twitter. I was looking up somebody's page and they were showing a picture of it. And I was like, what is that?
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see how it's really, a garden. When you think of a garden, you go out your backyard and you're growing your flowers or whatever. But this is actually more of a visual, more like you said, more of a community. And the fact that you can use it for education, you can use it for natural
Right.
preserves. There's no limit to the purpose,
Right.
Sure.
And we say you give a man a fish, he eats for a day,
Yep.
right? You teach a man how to fish, he eats for a lifetime. It's the same thing here. If
Right.
you give somebody fruits and vegetables, they will eat for that day or 2 days. If you teach them how to grow, on the other hand, they will eat for a lifetime, because I've done the research. You can regrow a carrot from the top of the carrot. You can regrow green onions from the top, from the root of the green. So basically, we can become a little bit off the grid, as they say, in growing our garden. So this guy that I'm going to bring up, I'm going to actually share his website. I was introduced to him. He goes by the name of the moniker as the Gangsta Gardener. The Gangsta Gardener, and his real name is Ron Finley. So I'm just gonna bring this up. This is his website. Um, I know I introduced you to him, or him to you rather, to see what this guy does. It's in Los Angeles, and in an area that is very low income.
Hmm.
And this gentleman decided that he wanted to, literally overhaul the neighborhood. And so what he started to do is plant things literally on the street and on the sidewalks and everywhere. Literally, I mean, you can see that this is it. And what happened was actually crazy. It was crazy because people started to gather around and do this. But as only the government can do, at one point they shut him down because he was using public property,
Right.
supposedly the sidewalk, to grow. And they said he couldn't do that. Well, push came to shove, and we come to now. And in fact, he in fact does do that. And he has taught many, many, many people how to do that, including my brother, your uncle, who runs an organization called Pico Union Project, where in fact they have learned and have now growing in their own parking lot enough fruits and vegetables to feed the community that comes to garden. How cool is that?
Well, I wanted to bring it really quick because you talked about the government thing. One of the things on here was the policies that go, and obviously he figured it out and he got it taken care of. But
Right,
one of the things that they do say is the zoning laws, and it's kind of same with houses. It's why you can't just put something in your backyard that you want
right,
to because of the thing. But yeah, that's obviously not too shocking, obviously. But yeah, it's good to see that he was able to
right.
fix it, figure it out, and not have to.
Because it's about food insecurity. I mean, in these neighborhoods where there literally maybe only one market, and the one market is miles away. And so to be able to use your own community and be able to grow and eat from what you harvest, is, I think, pretty cool. It sort of got me going on. I wanted to plant stuff, but as you said, we live in the desert and it's kind of hard to plant stuff in 120-degree weather.
That's
Except
difficult,
I did find out though we can plant tomatoes and cucumbers, so I think I'm going to go do
Oh,
that.
there you go. Okay, you can have a
There
salad.
I go.
That's
Did you
part of
did you learn, did you learn anything else about Ron when you were doing some research?
No, actually, most of it I just today when you were talking about it is kind of the same that I saw.
Okay, so I'm going over to my notes here. So what I mean, we kind of been going around it, but what are the benefits? Let's just list some
Well,
benefits.
really quick, I was going to because we're going to talk about how popular it was
Yeah,
as well. So I actually found some really cool things here on this one.
perfect.
Thank you, Wikipedia, for all of this useless knowledge, but it's really cool. So one of the big places that does it is Australia. The first one over there in their I forget what you call it, a state of Victoria or whatever it's called, because they, you know, their first one started in 1977, and then a second one followed soon, 3 years later in 1980. So they were one of the ones to do it. And why I bring them up is similar to here. Most of Australia is flat land and desert, and very little is able to grow
Well,
naturally. But they
mhm.
were able to do it. Now, this one I really love. In Japan, on rooftops of train stations, they've set up plots. You can actually buy them for only $1,000 a year, not that much, but you can actually buy a plot. And for them, the purpose is not for food, but actually for beautification.
Oh,
As obviously over there, a lot of it's built up city.
hmm,
Very, they do have their areas of
right.
beauty, but a lot of their cities are, similar to, let's say, LA or New York. It's coming very congested.
Hmm.
So their idea is let's put some stuff on top of things that you already use to make it kind of nice. What else do we have here? Spain, and actually Spain and the UK are two of the biggest areas that do it.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
Two very different temperatures. Spain, much more giving. Spain is more coastal, so you can do more. UK, not so much.
Not
They're
so much.
usually cloudy and rainy. But those two places are really big on doing it. I believe so culturally. They're very big on community anyway, so it's not too far. What else do we have? And then places like Taiwan and Mali, smaller areas are doing it as well.
Right.
And then of course we have it here. But I just wanted to bring up those few places because it is interesting to see. We watch History Channel a lot, and one of the guys said, we're very like we did it all country here. But it's important, and I teach this on my videos, that we're really not the ones that started a lot of this. A lot of these really cool things came from other cultures and places. So I feel that it is very important to shout out these places just to
I
say,
agree.
you guys actually did it first, and you're probably doing it better. No offense to any of us here, but I do find it interesting that a lot of these places that don't always get the shout out deserved, even though for them it's more of just a community thing.
Right.
I do think it's important to see, and I think it answers the question of is how popular is it? It's popular. I mean, and that can lead into the benefits really well. And I actually have a section for that too. I didn't, so I know we
Well,
kind of went back a little
no,
bit.
no, no. I think that's very important. And so let's just move into the benefits and
Right. So
what
I
can
have,
you
yeah.
tell us about that?
So yeah, so obviously they've been shown generally to have positive overall health, physical, mental, whatever. Studies have found, according to this site, that community gardens in schools have been found to have an average body mass index to improve average body mass index in children. So
Wow.
meaning they're out there, they're doing gardening. It's kind of like PE, but actually more fun than PE.
Right.
In 2013, a study found that 70% of obese or overweight children actually improved their weight over time as they were gardening. So right off the bat, you have that. The next big one, which I think you've kind of brought up with low income, the Hispanic and Latino communities do get the most because unfortunately in areas of LA and I guess Oakland, stuff like that, there's a lot of areas and that it's usually comprised of, I believe, African American, Hispanic families. But as you mentioned before, it gives them not only a way to get the food, but I know a lot of parents want to teach the kids. So
Right.
it tells them, hey, we're going to make a filling dinner out of, squash, cucumber, and broccoli,
Right.
whatever it is. And you're not only teaching the kids how to plant or how to grow, but also good eating habits, which will help physical, which
Right.
will help the brain.
And feeling good about themselves. And
Yes.
feeling good about themselves because when you are a lower income individual and live in lower income communities, there is a tendency to feel very down. And there's a tendency to
Yes.
think that we just, we can't do it all. So I think this has to do good for the self-esteem.
And then on the other hand, for adults, they did a study in Utah of all. I didn't realize it was prevalent there, but apparently it is. And they found the same thing as far as weight goes. Adults who had neighbors or who were gardeners lost weight much easier and much quicker, and they kept it off because not only were they out there growing, but apparently gardening takes
Right.
work. You gotta
Right.
lift the stuff. So not only was it for the kids, but also they just found generally that anywhere that a neighborhood had some sort, and again, it might have just been something like, hey, you have two neighbors, you both are on the same backyard, just the two of you guys grow. That
Right.
could still be considered a community garden. Um, Participation in community garden has increased with both availability and consumption of fruits and veggies in the household was their next little section there.
Right.
The numbers on average increased 2.55 fruits and 4.3 vegetables. So about three times, the amount of fruits and a little over four of the vegetables.
Wow.
And that's just strictly from growing.
That's
And
good.
then, of course, as we mentioned earlier, it showed that kids who participated end up eating healthier, and they're adding about 5 additional servings per week of veggies, fruits, whatever it is.
Which means as they get older and they have children, they're going to teach better eating habits as well.
Correct.
Right.
So it's really cool. I mean, when we get to the thing we're selling, it's hard here because the desert, and it's funny because the product company that I have, we actually got a free one in a mystery box I got. Unfortunately, the winds came through and the whole thing just blew away because it wasn't strong enough to it. That one actually was a pollination garden where the particular flower attracted bees, and those bees then
Oh,
transplanted the pollen somewhere else. So it is a good idea, and I get, I'm sure, and I say this on my show, people watching are probably thinking I can't do that where I'm at because of the weather. I
but you
get it. Not everywhere is pertinent, but if you can do it in a place like, even like in Alaska where there's lots of ice and snow, people are still growing vegetables. If you can do it in a place like that, I would think there's a way to do it almost. I'm not going to say everywhere,
can
almost
almost.
to grow. And I think we brought it up already. Kind of a lot of people who do live off the land or who live more cultural life, let's say like Eskimos or like the Hawaiian people who live off the stuff, their livelihood is to eat what they're growing. So
Right.
for them to not grow would not just be detrimental for the city, but for
But for
themselves.
them as well.
Exactly. So you put them up. So I'll kind of give you a quick. So this came in a pack of six, and we have some doubles here, but I'll show you
And
some.
this is what the reason why we're showing you this is that if you can't garden outside, you can garden inside. So
Right.
there we go.
So we have this guy's strawberries. So this guy's going to supposedly grow strawberries. We will see. We have forget me nots, which I don't know what they are, but I'm assuming they're blue from, you know. We have, let's see, we have daisies, which are pretty, there you go. And my favorite, I think are going to look really cool, are the mini roses.
Mm.
So these are the ones, we do have some doubles, so those are the only ones that I show. But let me open it's, I don't know. We'll open up this one. The thing cracked a little bit, so we'll open up this guy first.
Okay.
So it comes with the package. The instructions are here, so it's hard to read now. But I don't even know if it's
So
kind of a little blurry. But let me show you what comes with it, if it wants to come up. So this guy is your soil, basically, your whatever you call it. And then these are your seeds, which is cool. And then I lost a piece of my pot, so that's going to the garbage. So that's all it is. And really, what you do, instruction wise, is you're going to put that little soil in some water, some kind of warmish water, mix it up with a fork, put it back in the pot, and then you actually have enough seeds in here to do, let me see, I think a few times, because you only put 3 to 4 seeds. And this comes with nothing, apparently. No. The one I opened yesterday, it came with probably like 15 seeds. So you
oh
can
wow.
probably do this a few times over. So really what you're going to do, and the instructions will tell you here, you take that little piece of soil, you put it in some water, and then you stick the seeds in. For the first few days, I believe, you're going to put it outside in the pot, let it kind of get sunlight, hopefully it doesn't blow away. And then, theoretically, if all goes well, you can then scoop it, stick it on your ground in your dirt, and hope for the best. Um, like I said, we tried it once, didn't work well because of the wind. It seems generally like a good idea. It seems like really cool. I would say if you know how to garden, this is probably the really easy way to do. Like if you don't have a place to do it and you're a gardener, just grab a couple of these and boom.
Right.
But I think if you haven't gardened and you want to give it a try because you have multiple ones, try it once or twice, see what it works. If you find out that the temperature is just too much, give it as a gift. It's a great little, you know,
Right.
Christmas
Right.
stocking stuffer. Um, but it's pretty cool, and I think the whole set was maybe like $15, $12. So
Yeah,
it
it's
was
really
really expensive.
inexpensive.
Yeah,
We're
I
gonna
mean,
put the link. We're gonna put the link in the
oh
in
yeah,
the
well, yeah, there you go.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, really, it's trial and error. For me, I kind of like it to happen the first time, so I'm like, why isn't it working? But it's really cool to do. It's really cool to at least put it together, and then the hope is that then
Right.
you'll have some stuff. I'm curious about the strawberries because I'm wondering if it's actually going to, look like a strawberry. Um,
We might have to talk about it like 6 months from now and have you bring this is
if
how
it
it's
lasts that
good.
long, sure, I will definitely let you know what it is. But yeah, it's a pretty cool little thing. There's different styles. The company is Buzzy, so if you go on Amazon, when you click through the link, if you don't like these ones, go to their page. There's all sorts of flowers you can purchase, all
Right.
that stuff.
Right.
It's a cool thing. I mean, obviously you can't always be where that guy is in LA and have a whole full thing. Um, and it's funny you brought up the off the grid thing. Plenty of times we watch home shows where they do that, and it's like you don't want to do the off the grid, but if you kind of want to feel like you're actually doing something good for the earth, this is like the easy way to do it without having to move to the middle of nowhere and build your house out of wood or and logs and whatever. But hey, I've watched many of those more than I should, but
We'll have to talk about this afterwards.
yes, exactly. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool. And yeah, once in a while you will get the little chip, but honestly, that's they're meant to be
Right,
put into the ground, so
right,
it's
right,
not that big of a
right.
deal. And
So,
afterwards, you can use it for an art project. You never know.
absolutely.
Um, but yeah, they're pretty cool. So I'll try to take pictures of it if it works and
Right.
put them up and see what happens. But yeah, it's pretty cool. It's a little piece of nature.
It is. It's kind of fun. If you have been tuned in and you have no idea what we're talking about, you didn't figure it out. We've been talking about the community garden. We were showing you this very cool flower pot set, and you can check the link in the side chat. Let us know if it grows. We'd love to hear your results. Take pictures of it, and we'd love to see it. What we want to do on all of our shows, as we have mentioned, is to give resources for anyone that might be experiencing some mental health disabilities or challenges. And the first one is the National Institute of Mental Health. It's a
Yes.
governmental site, right?
Governmental site. I believe they are worldwide. I think so. This one I think goes for anybody around the world. I know some of them are state to state, but this one I think is overall.
And then we have NAMI, which is the
National Association of Mental Health.
mental
Uh,
illness. Yeah, mental illness or something like
mental
that.
illness, yeah.
So, what would they find over there? Is it resources, papers, what is it?
Um, Phone numbers, emails, articles. There's a whole slew of different things that are over.
And just released rather recently was the new 988 number, similar to 911, which would be an emergency in your home. This is for mental health emergencies. If you are struggling and you need to talk to somebody, please talk to somebody. Call 988 and they will hook you up. Rob, let's show people how they can get in touch with you. They can go
Sure.
visit your website at Altered Universe Live. There's all sorts of cool stuff over there. Rob is on LinkedIn at Rob Glasser. You can also go and find some really cool nerdy stuff. Maybe on one of the shows you'll wear one of your nerdy shirts or something. And also, Rob is on YouTube. As we have mentioned, he does daily shows, right? 10 o'clock every day. Sometimes you also do them in the afternoon, sometimes mental health issues, sometimes just nerd stuff, and sometimes it's just whatever came into your head and you decided you wanted to talk about it. I have to say, it's a fun show. I'm not just saying that because I'm related, but because it actually is a very fun show. So I encourage you to go check it out. And Rob is also on Twitter at Altered Universe 1. You can find me on all social everywhere at Caren Glasser, my website, karenglasser.com. Any last minute thoughts that you want to share with our audience about this community garden?
Ooh, I don't know. I think we went over a lot of things. I have too much information in my head now. No, I think we'll definitely want to do more topics like this in the future for
Right.
sure. Yeah, I know that the mental health is the title of the show, but I think generally speaking, if you're not good to the body physically, it's going to
You're not
affect the brain,
there
vice versa. So
yet.
if you're not good to your
Absolutely.
brain, it's going to affect your body physically. But it's gardening is kind of like crafting. You may not be good at it first, but it's something you can do together with somebody.
Right.
You
You may
live
have a brown thumb, but you can turn that brown thumb into a green thumb.
if you're
I
lucky.
hope, if you're lucky. We want to thank our audience for tuning in with us today, whether it was live or on replay. We are so appreciative that you did that. Go out and give somebody an awesome day, and we'll see you on the next Minding Your Mental Health. Goodbye, everyone.